that time of year again when silly season kicks into full flow and people up and down the paddock are debating the F1 driver moves for 2022. Now I think it's fair to say there's not going to be as many driver moves this year as there was last year. Say pretty much all of the midfield seems settled. It's just the top seat at Mercedes and a few seats at one of the lower teams up for debate. So let's get straight into it. At Mercedes, I've gone for Lewis Hamilton and a new driver, George Russell. Now, Lewis Hamilton obviously already been confirmed, totally the right driver, and he'll still be their lead driver for the next few years. But I would say coming in the number 2 role, at least to begin with, is George Russell. And for me, as much as I would be sad to see Valtteri Bottas leave, because he seems like a perfect wingman for Lewis Hamilton, George Russell coming in, I just think it makes sense. He's been outstanding at Williams these last few years. He's definitely made enough of a case to earn a promotion, and a few years learning under a 7-time world champion, potentially 8-time world champion, is exactly what he needs. So I think it makes all the sense in the world. Red Bull, I've gone for the status quo, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Max Verstappen already committed there, and why would Red Bull want to get rid of him? He's just been outstanding this season. Only thing I can think of is an exit clause if he doesn't win the title, but I think it's highly likely with the season that Red Bull have had, he wants to stay there. And the number 2 seat, Perez only signed a 1-year contract. Even though he has fallen away, you could say slightly in recent races, I still do think he'll get retained. He's doing a lot better than Gasly and Albon were. Apparently he's a few upgrades behind. But yeah, he does seem like a pretty solid number 2 option for the team. At McLaren, it's already been confirmed Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo will remain at the team. Norris obviously signing a new contract earlier in the year. Obviously an absolute no-brainer for McLaren. He's just been one of the drivers of the season so far, simply outstanding. And Norris, he seems happy there, so why would he want to leave with unlikely seats available at the top 2 teams? And then Daniel Ricciardo, obviously he's had a really tough first half of the year, but I think we will start to see improvements in the second half of the year, and hopefully with the new cars in 2022 he'll get more use of that McLaren. And at Aston Martin, once again I've gone for the status quo. Sebastian Vettel's already signed a multi-year contract, and to be honest I think he's fully deserving of it. He's been pretty solid this season. Definitely a step up on where he was last season. Lance Stroll still hasn't been confirmed, but when your dad is pretty much the owner, the boss of the whole team, there's not a lot of debate. And to be honest, he's probably done enough to deserve this seat. He's been solid enough this season, and you know, he's still a young driver, so I still expect him to improve. And at Alpine, I've gone for the status quo once again, Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon. Alonso, yeah, he had a bit of a slow start to the season, but he's improved recently, and definitely warrants another season, especially with all the experience he brings for new regulations. And Esteban Ocon, he's signed a new contract. I was starting to doubt if it was a bit premature to offer that with drivers like Gasly on the market, but he proved in Hungary just how good he can be, and in my opinion is probably fully deserving of that second seat. And at Ferrari, I've gone for Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Mattia Binotto said it's one of the best driver lineups up on the grid, and to be honest it's hard to disagree. They've just been outstanding this year. Leclerc, obviously he's had some really bad unlucky moments, like that moment in Hungary with Lance Stroll, and Carlos Sainz, out of all the drivers, we saw a few of them struggle to adapt quickly, but Carlos Sainz was right there from the beginning really, and at the moment he currently leads Leclerc in the championship, and that tells you everything you need to know. At Alpha Tauri, I've gone for Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda. This is probably one that's not totally confirmed, but for Gasly, I think it is just one more year in that Red Bull Junior team. It's very unlikely he'll be re-promoted to Red Bull, so one more year. Maybe Perez will go at the end of next year when they might get a chance to promote him, but if not, he could move elsewhere, maybe replace Alonso at Alpine or somewhere like that. And Yuki Tsunoda, obviously he's been a bit inconsistent, but the raw pace is there, and for me he still has the potential to have a decent career. And can you really see Red Bull wanting to opt for Alex Albon on the next stage of career? I don't know, and I think I'd rather have Tsunoda over someone like Yuri Vips or Liam Lawson. For Romeo, I've gone for a bit of a surprise driver lineup: Antonio Giovinazzi and Mick Schumacher. Giovinazzi, I think he's been there for a few years now. you could say he's starting to get a bit of a grasp on Raikkonen, and I do think he is ready to lead that team. And in the second seat, I've gone for Mick Schumacher. That's just because I can see another Ferrari junior getting a drive next season, and Alfa Romeo currently seems like the better option to HAAS, so I can see them wanting to promote the guy with one more year of experience to a slightly better team, so that's why I've gone for Mick. And at HAAS, I've gone for Robert Schwartzman and Nikita Mazepin. Robert Schwartzman, he's had a bit of a mixed start to the F2 season, I think it's fair to say, but I really think he will get a run together going in the second half of the season and could claim that title, and in my opinion that will make him worthy of a seat in F1. And at HAAS, it kind of makes sense. What will probably be a Russian team next season, and his teammate of course will be Nikita Mazepin. Not much doubt about that, I don't think, when your dad pretty much is probably going to own the team soon. As you may not like it, but unfortunately I think he's going to be here for a long time. At Williams, I've gone for Valtteri Bottas in the first seat. I do think it makes sense for Bottas to go back to Williams. Williams seem like a team on the up now with new investors coming in Dorothea Capital, and a team leader who's had experience in a top seat would just make sense. Obviously he already knows everyone there from his time there earlier. It was a successful relationship, and he would still have some Mercedes ties, so in all, I just think it's a move that makes perfect sense. In the second seat, I've gone for Nicholas Latifi. This is an interesting one. Jos Capito saying a few weeks ago that Williams don't need pay drivers anymore. I know Dan Tickton had a bit of a go at Latifi recently, but Latifi, I think he proved his worth in Hungary. He can bring home the points, and if he can bring home points on an occasional basis for a team like Williams and brings the funding, then it's a perfect option for them. There are drivers like Kvyat, Hulkenberg around. Maybe Nick de Vries as well, but I think Latifi, just for that stability, if you're bringing in Bottas as well as a solid number 2, I don't think he'd be a bad option at all. Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, let me know your thoughts, comments down below, and follow me on to the link in the description below for daily F1 news, and subscribe to my channel on the screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, peace.